What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here.
Rich from Flipping for a Living.
All right, so you're in for a really good treat of a show today. This is a live show on my channel, and I have a special guest here, Richard from Flipping for a Living. We're going to get right into the broadcast here in a second. I want to make sure that we sound good. I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas, and I flip stuff from garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets, big box stores, put it on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, my antique booth, and other consignment stores in town. I do that part-time because the other half of the time I am working on projects and I am helping running the greenroomuniversity.com. You can check it out. It's the second link down below. But enough of that. Let's talk about our guest that is here in the house. We have Richard. What's up, Richard?
Not much. I'm tired just from listening at everything you do to keep busy. You're like the busiest man I know. So
I know some busier people than me, but I'm pretty busy. So you are Richard, and you have a YouTube channel, right?
I do. I just started it up. I'm late to the dance. I had this great idea to start a YouTube channel this year, and then I go on the internet and realize that there's already hundreds of them, but it's not going to stop me. I really want to try and share what I've learned over the last 20 years of yard selling.
Yeah, you heard it right. 20 years of yard selling. This guy's been to like 50,000 or more garage sales. This dude's like seriously in the game when it comes to garage sales, but we're going to delve into that here in a second. I love your background, Rich. The background is always one of the best parts of your shows. And when I say that, I mean, people might be like, well, what are you talking about? I don't see his channel. You got to subscribe. It's the first link down below is Richard's channel. It's so important. Go check it out. But your background's killer, man. Where do you get all, that's just comes from everywhere, right?
It does. I mean, I'll try and keep the long story really short. I actually started flipping when I was 4 years old. I never told you that part, Chris, but I lived on a cul-de-sac and I had a best friend. He was 4, I was 4, he was 5. And we would go to my neighbor's house and we would take the white rocks off of his thing and we'd break them into little pieces and put them in a bag. And then we'd go around the crescent and sell them for 10 cents a bag as fish rocks. So that's when I first started flipping.
There's no way, man. Really?
Yeah, true. That's a true story. That's why I put on there on the YouTube channel. People are going to question, how have you been flipping for 44 years when you're only 48? But that's how. But then, yeah, I opened a sports card store in the early 90s, and that bombed. Sports cards went downhill really fast. So then I went into a secondhand toy store, and that's when I really got into going to the yard sales. Was I actually had a store that would resell quality secondhand baby furniture and toys.
Cool. Well, there's a lot of cool things in your background. I want people to check out the background. What's up, Brandon Penrod? That's the person I'm actually meeting after the show. Remember how I told you there's a green room member after the show that I'm going to meet up with and give a bike to? And like there was this amazing green room deal that I did with him behind the scenes. But anyways, one of my awesome bikes is going to him. But anyways, I want you guys for a second, when Richard talks, I want you to look at his background and see if you notice anything and type it out in the feed because it's really cool stuff. I see a lot of things. I mean, easily 15 to 20 things that I could just be like, oh, I see this, I see that, I see that. So it's pretty interesting. It's almost like a Where's Waldo, except Waldo's everywhere behind you.
Yeah, I'm an 80s child. I'm really, I love my childhood and I'm trying to relive it with a lot of things. I mean, there's not a lot of huge value back there, but it's stuff that's near and dear, stuff I remember, you know, from 35, 40 years ago. And yeah, I think it looks cool. It's entertaining. So
yeah, it's definitely entertaining. I can't tell. One of your shelves behind you, it looks like it's curving up. Is that purposely done, or is there like a bent piece of wood behind you? What's going on?
right here.
Yeah, what is that?
I might have made a mistake, but it's a set of old wooden water skis. And I got those free at a yard sale. So I said, oh, I'll turn them into a shelf. So that's what they are. I put brackets on them and there's 2 of them there, one holding the TV, the other one holding some other stuff. It's a shelf. So
gosh,
yeah.
dude. That's insane. I was like, okay, is it like humid in your house? Like, is the wood warping? What is going on?
Yeah, so now I'm constantly looking for more wooden skis. I think it's a pretty cool look, great for cabins and lakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can go to my antique booth here in Austin, Texas, and you can buy some heavily marked up ones if you want.
I will come and do that sometime. But
yeah, I'm down to like one pair left right now. I had like 3 pairs in there, and 2 have sold in the past month. So, but they're the Cascade Garden. You ever seen those Cypress Garden ones and all that kind of stuff? The really nice wood. I love wood skis like you have. Like,
yeah, they're super nice. And like I said, did I make a mistake here? I don't know. Like, no, are those worth way more in somebody else's house?
Just depends on what they are. They look like the lighter type wood, like the darker type wood, like Cypress Garden ones are the ones that sell for pretty good money. Darker with a lot of lacquer on them, and you know, a lot of clear coat still there present. usually skis that were not used that much. Like they were just like, oh yeah, we had them and then we put them in an attic or some lake lodge kind of thing and
Right.
didn't use them. And those are hard to find because the rubber parts of the boots, no binding things, usually crumbles to pieces. But like if they survive real well, it's really awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But nice background. So okay, so I assume that we sound good. What's up, people in the house? We got Thrift Shop Hustler, Rick Remix. We got Swamp Picker. We got a bunch of people in the house. I want you guys to check out the first link. That's going to be his channel, Richard's Flipping for a Living channel. And you really are flipping for a living. Like you are essentially a full-time reseller. And we're going to get it. Your story is like fascinating. So you are full-time, but you also run like a nonprofit thing with 3 schools, correct?
Yeah, I run, that's what I actually do. It's before and after school programs in 3 different schools in the city. And I've been doing that for 12 years, but I only have to hang out with the kids from 7:30 till 9 in the morning and then roughly 3 till 4:30 or 5 after school. So it affords me the rest of the day to do what I love, which is this. I mean,
Yeah. Which
next
is
to my wife and kids, there's nothing I love more than hustling out and looking for great deals at yard sales.
yeah, and he does go to a lot of yard sales. Now, here's the kicker about the whole entire thing. What avenues are you able to buy on that are available in Canada? That's where you're from, right?
Yeah, I guess we never got to that. I'm from a place called Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. If you watch a lot of TV, usually somebody will throw a joke out about Saskatchewan in a TV show or a movie. It's been thrown out there a few times, but that's where I'm from. It's right above the Dakotas. If you go straight north, that's where you'll find me, about 4 or 5 hours into Canada across the border.
Now, you said it takes how many hours to each coastline?
Like 20 to 25, depending on how fast. Actually, it's more like 30 to go to Ontario, Toronto area. 20 to 25 to get to the other coast, Vancouver, BC area. So, yeah.
So you're in the middle of like, probably, I mean, good stuff, and you have opportunity, but you're in the middle of like essentially land. Like there are a lot of lakes around you, right?
Yeah. What was it? We just talked about that. We have roughly 100,000 lakes in our province. So people fly in from all over the world to go fishing in our province. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Pretty cool. The ongoing joke about Saskatchewan is if your dog runs away, you can actually see him for the next hour because that's how flat it is.
Really?
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's just.
I was like envisioning like mountains and stuff because hunters and all that, but no, it's just flat.
Yeah, flat.
Okay, interesting. So you've been in the business for a while. Of all the things, why reselling? Why not tech, or why not, sales position at an office with a cubicle and a headset? Like, why reselling? Out of all the things you could have done.
I don't know what it is. I've kind of just always worked for myself since 1990, and I think I'm blessed to do this. I mean, I love being able to work for myself and create my own schedule, and I'm there for my kids and my family when I need to be, and yeah, it's the lifestyle. It's so free, not working for the man.
Yeah, it's good, and clearly you're doing pretty well at it because you can find a lot of inventory by garage selling in Canada, of all places. So let's talk about the avenues to buy in Canada garage sales. Where other places do you buy inventory from?
We have all the resources here that everybody else does. I could go to pawn shops. We have, at least 4 or 5, no more than that, probably about 8 or 9 thrift stores. We're in a city of about 300,000 people, so it's a fair size, but not huge. Auctions, all that places, it's there for me. But I just love garage sales the most because the margins. It's about the margins. Like you can't go into a thrift store generally unless it's a book and buy something for $1 or $2 that you can flip for 100 or 50 or 60. I mean, you can't do that in a clearance center. You can't do that at Walmart or Target. But at yard sales, I'm constantly finding things, that you buy for $2 or $3 or $5 and make 10 or 20 times your money on. So that's why I love it the most. I think like
Right.
95 to 97% of what I buy is from yard sales.
Okay. So like in the past 50,000 garage sales that you've been to, because you tossed that number out to me when I did a pre-interview with you like a week ago. But
Yeah.
you're like, I've probably been to about 50,000 garage sales. So let's just say you've been to 50,000 garage sales. And, you know, there are a lot of people in YouTube land that might be like, oh my gosh, like the YouTube channels are killing reselling and they're killing all this stuff. Have you seen an increase in competition in the past 20 years? Have you seen your pocketbook decrease with the profits you make? Or are you just seeing constant business and maybe the thrift store price is going up? Like, I'm trying to figure out, does the YouTube audience in America really affect some of this other stuff out there?
You know, it hasn't hit here yet. I guess I may be a little isolated right in the smack dab middle of Canada. I have noticed that thrift stores are kind of getting a little bit crazy with their reselling. Like I know one lady who I watch her child at my after school program. She actually works at one of the main ones here, and she kind of gave me the inside scoop. They have people that are on the computers looking stuff up. They're never going to generally set anything out there, even if it's a nice shirt or a video game or a pair of shoes. I mean, they're pretty good at marketing it now. So that's probably another reason I don't buy a lot at thrift stores and just source the garage sales. And I can only do it for 6 months a year here. I know we're probably going to talk about that later, but so I really have to stock up in those 6 months.
So when you really have to stock up in the 6 months, what does the garage sale day kind of look like for you? Is it a start at 7 and at 12? Is it an 8 to 10? Like, what is a perfect day for you making good money where Richard goes home and goes, you know what, that was successful?
Well, right now it's really picking up. It really runs from the middle of April to the start of November is really all we have. So there's that prime time that we all have, I think, from like 7 till 9 or 8 till 10. On a Saturday, I might stay out till 12 or 1 at the very latest. On Friday is actually my big day. I'm really fortunate to be able to go out on a Friday because most people are at work as opposed to a Saturday morning. So yeah, my Fridays, I'll spread it out right from 9 a.m. till 5.
Till 5?
But it's really spread out though. That's the beauty of being in this industry, right? You can go to a handful of garage sales, do some other things for a few hours, post a few things, clean up a few things, go out for supper or dinner with your wife or kids, and then go out for a few more yard sales. So
That is the most crazy. That is the craziest story I've ever heard. So
really,
you go to garage sales, then you do a bunch of stuff. You do some random stuff, and you clean stuff, you list stuff, and then you hang out with the wife, have some dinner, and go out to more yard sales. How does that even work?
well, I don't know. People just that's the way it.
Where they have yard sales till like 7 o'clock in the evening or something over there?
Yeah, Fridays people will start at like 3 or 4 or 5 and run till dark, like
Oh my
7, 8,
gosh, dude, this
9.
is the craziest. Like
Really?
this is like inception of like garage sale universe right here. This is
You're
like
blowing me
stuff
away.
folding all over the like because in garage sales here they're usually from 7 if you're lucky to 11 usually like what I've seen like across the
Yeah,
country like 7 to 11 is like that's it.
on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, but then you're right, on Friday there's a couple that start on 5, but they're usually like all over the place. So but most of them are still like 8 to 8 to 11s and stuff. So that's just really crazy how you can go make some money and then start doing other things and like spend time with your family and then go back and still make more money. That's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, there's been plenty of times I've gone out at 9 or 10 on a Friday morning, and you buy a couple bikes or something that's really popular during spring, and I'll flip them in the middle of a Friday and take that money and head right back out, midday or late afternoon Friday and buy more stuff with that same money. So you can take on a Friday afternoon in Saskatoon, you can take $10 and flip it 2 or 3 or 4 times in the course of a day and turn it into $200 or $300. So that same
That's
$10.
crazy.
Yeah,
Wow. That isn't
yeah, it's awesome.
that's amazing. So it doesn't happen all the time, but you're saying it can happen and it has happened.
Frequently.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
for
so it happens a lot.
sure.
Wow. So you're the kind
Yeah.
of guy like you buy something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you buy something at a garage sale or a series of things. You go down the street where you're out of view or somewhere where you're out of view and you have a good background. You take pictures of this stuff. You start listing it, and then you keep going about your day. And then some of this stuff sells by the time you get home, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done that not very often. It's typically being in the city that we're in, and I'm very central to it. I can get pretty much any corner of this city in 12 to 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll go to that side. I'll come home, unload my truck. If I have a couple of bikes or something, I know that people are looking for, yeah, I'll take the pictures right away and I'll grab a snack and let the dogs out and say hi to the wife and kids and then go back out for a few more hours. And by the time I'm home, usually people are wanting to buy that stuff. So
Yeah, it's the best time to put a bike picture up is right on a Friday morning or a Friday afternoon because people have the weekends ready and they have time. And but you're right, yeah. That I always try to get the most amount of like local listings up before Friday. So it's super
yeah,
important.
yeah, for sure.
Even though I say that, but I did sell something last night at like 10:30 at night, like outside my driveway. But anyway, it was a backpack, nothing crazy. So that fantastic story, by the way. So you have Friday opportunities and people are at work, so you capitalize on that. You have major Saturday opportunities, right? Better than Friday opportunity, or just more, right? On Saturday.
I'm realizing more this year that Friday is really the day because the people out there hustling is a lot lower. Like I said, most people are still at work because they're not doing it for a living or at least part-time. So they have to wait till Saturday morning. So Fridays have been really good. Saturday is where it's like you really got to go hard from 7 till 9, and there's a lot more competition, like everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wow. You're
Yeah,
right, but Saturday has more competition. But when I go on Fridays, for some reason, I always find the greatest. I find a lot of good things. It's just here in Austin, there's only 3 to 5 that I might go check out every Friday. So maybe I
really.
don't. Yeah, like, but here's the thing: like, for me to say, oh, I can get to 12 to 15 minutes to any part of town, which is true with no traffic. But Austin's growing at 600 people a day move to Austin. Okay, 600 people a day move to Austin. That's the
Wow,
stat. Think about it for a second. 600 move to Austin, and then they figure out they can't live here, and or the
that's
prices are so high, so then they go to these like outskirts, and
that's
so
amazing.
yeah, it's a popular city. It's growing pretty fast. But with that comes traffic because the infrastructure on the roads hasn't caught up with all the people moving, right? So everyone
Yeah.
you can put two and two together and figure out
Oh,
that
for sure.
things get pretty congested quickly. Um, so now we go into you buy anything at these garage sales, right? But what is your true hustling passion? Like if it came down to 3 or 5 items, you're like, oh my God, like this is what I love to find, easy to flip. I know too much about it. What would those 3 to 5 items be?
Man, that's a really hard question to answer because you can see the stuff behind me. Like I do not discriminate against buying and selling anything for money. Um, if I have to pick, I mean, it's this time, well, because my season's so short, bikes for sure. I mean, video games are getting so rare to find, although I did get a good find this past week. That was a year-long search though. Um, Sports equipment, golf clubs, fishing, tackle. Um,
So golf is kind of big in Saskatoon. What is it called? Saskatoon.
yeah, Saskatoon.
So golf is kind of a big thing down there.
Yeah, I mean, we flock to the golf courses. It's not like, it's not like we have igloos here, right? I mean, it was 85 degrees here on the weekend, so it was
Whoa,
decent.
really?
Yeah,
85. That's pretty good.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
It's a
sitting here
short.
thinking this place is cold as hell.
No, no, it's a short summer, but it's just like everywhere else. We have some really nice days. So yeah, it's not like it's all indoor garage sales and we're wearing earmuffs when we're at them. Early April, yes, and early November or late October. It's pretty chilly, but we have a
But
nice
yeah, it
spell,
sounds
nice
like you get
weather.
it done.
Vintage electronics too.
Oh yeah, those are great. Who
I'm
could
just
who passes those up? Those are great.
I'm just looking at one over there right now that I got this weekend. Heath Kit. You ever heard of that?
No. What is
Heath
that?
Kit. Look it up. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew I wasn't going to pass on it. It's just a huge, giant, old computer keypad. Not like the square gray kind. You're
Okay.
gonna have to look it up. Yeah, I wish I could explain more because I'd never seen one before, but I just knew I wasn't going to pass it up for $40. It's like there's like 3 or 4 boxes of this Heath Kit.
Heath Kit.
It's
I will
called.
look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Okay. We have 78 people watching right now, so I'm gonna take an opportunity to remind you guys about two things real quick. One, or 79 now. See, I start talking and all these people start coming in. No, I'm just kidding. First link down below is his channel. Okay, so I want you guys to go subscribe to it, even if you see it not live. Go subscribe to Flipping for a Living. You are putting what seems to be 2 to 4 videos a week. Am I right about that? Around 2 to 4.
I'm
If
trying
you're
to
lucky.
get to a running start. Yeah, I did do two. I don't know how long to make them. Like I had a bunch of bundles, a bunch of hauls I wanted to put in, but
Yeah,
I
you
didn't want
have
to have
great hauls.
a 30-minute video, so I was trying to keep them closer to 10 minutes. So
Yeah,
it's
6 to 10 is a sweet spot when you're first getting started out.
okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to
Well,
know.
you and I are going to be working behind the scenes. Like, I'm going to help you out. Like, I've told you, like, see, this is the thing. Like, I get a lot of communication behind the scenes, enough to where I can't respond to like hardly any of it anymore. But
Mhm.
for some reason, like, he had a very concise and brief and to the point paragraph or paragraphs. And while I usually just skip over paragraph kind of stuff, for some reason, like, his was just written well, or something grabbed my attention. And so I decided late at night, like it was around 11 at night, and I was about to go to bed. I read this thing and I was like, oh, wow, like it was something about growing a YouTube channel. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I would like to, give me some tips or something like that. And I immediately just said, let's put you on a show. Let's put you on a show, because I saw the channel and I started looking at it. I was like, dude, this guy's got a lot of, he reminds me of me when I first started a YouTube channel. Not saying that I'm any better than Richard, right? But when I started the YouTube channel, I was kind of like, I wish I had someone that had a pretty big following that wanted to extend their hand and be like, hey, here's how to do it. And like, here's, you know, really they're essentially like trying to shave off the years for Richard. And when you come, that's one of the things in life. Like when you achieve certain things, a lot of times it's best to give back any way you can. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, through information, helping hand, whatever. And I saw through Richard myself, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I'll just help as much as I can here. And so that's what I'm doing at this point. But I do like his videos. Like, they're just all some cool stuff. And he's showing you a lot of garage sale finds, which I think universally across the nation and now Canada, it seems like garage sales just exist everywhere, right?
Absolutely. And I really appreciate what you've done for me. I mean, the nicest guy in the business right here. It's an honor really to work with you, Chris. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, the videos, I try and cram as much as I can in there. I want to keep it, educational. I want to give people kind of a general idea what to pay for stuff and what to sell it for, and where to best sell each item. For me personally, just real quick, it's like I try and stay current. I think a lot of people have the misconception going to yard sales that you have to know everything about antiques and rare items to be successful at yard sales. But I try and tell people, just stay current, stay with what you know. Like, you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to Costco, you see what people use on an everyday basis. You don't have to know anything about antiques. Buy that stuff that you just saw what the price was at Target. If you see it for 10 cents on the dollar or 15 cents on the dollar at a yard sale, buy it, because it's still current. Someone's going to buy it for 40 or 50 or 60 or even 70% of its original price if it's in good shape. So you do the math on that. It's easy money. You buy 10 things at $10 or 10 cents on the dollar. So you're spending $10 on something that was $100. You get $50 a piece on it. There's $500 you just made off of 10 items. So it's not hard to do. Anybody can do it. I'm not a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist. I just get out there and do it.
Yeah, that's right. You got to get out there and do it. And by the way, Richard, we have an amazing quote that just came through. Can I read it to you?
Please.
Okay, so it comes from Aaron Atkins. It says, I feel it's a responsibility for anyone who breaks through a certain ceiling to send the elevator back down and give others a helpful lift. Isn't that
That's
pretty cool? That's pretty
fantastic.
cool. That
That's
was Kevin
awesome.
Spacey quote right there. And a lot of people are really liking that quote. So yeah, if you guys are enjoying the video and it's kind of eye-opening on things, like, for me, if it's eye-opening that the garage sales are going till like 7 o'clock in Canada, and I'm sitting here thinking that you're right, that it's like cold weather and earmuffs, and clearly it's not. But that's what these shows are all about. It's about delving into other people's business, how they do it, and how you make full-time income with 90% of your stuff coming from garage sales. And I think your background speaks of that as well. Every one of those things has come from thrifting, I assume, right? Most of it.
Absolutely, yeah. Everything has. I didn't buy anything.
Didn't you find the My Pet Monster like recently, like a month ago or something?
Yeah,
I think you got two of them, right?
I got two of them. Actually, I had three. I don't know if I think there's only three in the set, but my son said the one of them reminded him of our current dog, so he wanted to keep that. Obviously, he can keep that. So yeah, I've got the three of them. It's not getting a lot of activity, honestly, on eBay, but I got no problem sitting on those until they sell at the price I invested in them.
Yeah, I see
So
that in the background. I see an NES Advantage controller. I see people are looking at your wrestling figures in the background. A lot of cool things, man. A lot of cool things. Okay, so I'm going to talk about. I'm going to ask you a little bit more about these garage sales real quick.
sure.
So now, in the 6 months of the year, are you going out with like a down jacket, a fleece, and pants? Is that kind of like the standard kind of thing? Or you said just the other weekend it was 85, right? Shorts and let me ask
Yeah,
you this: at what point do Canadians in Saskatoon, where do they stop wearing shorts and shirts and they convert to pants and like down jackets? Like, what is that degree of where you see people not in the park anymore and like they're not out there? It always astonishes me, like with various places in the world. What is
yeah.
that in
Like,
Saskatoon?
are you talking the degree temperature wise, or
Yeah,
the
like at
time
what
of
point
year?
do you not see the kids outside playing with like just shorts and a t-shirt and like what is that? Is that 50? Is that 40? What is that?
And you know what? I'm sorry. Someone's going to have to do the math for us down in the comments, because but Celsius and Fahrenheit, right? We got the difference. Here it was 20 degrees out, which is 85 Fahrenheit where you
Okay.
are. So um, I don't know what the math is when you get down to 5 degrees, but it's like 5, 6 degrees here. We'll start putting on the shorts, but I don't know
Five or
what that
six
is.
degrees. All right, someone in the feed help me out with that. Five
Yeah,
or 6 degrees in Canada weather. Like, what does that mean to America? I mean, USA weather. Let me know, because I don't want to sit here and do conversions
yeah,
and bore you guys to death. But I want to know. So, someone in the feed help me out. We got a lot of
yeah.
great people in the feed, by the way. Um, so, so you got these garage sales down there. They're in garages, right? And they're on the lawns, correct? It's like a standard garage sale,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
This is not the kind where people back up their cars and like do car boots. No, this is a real garage sale, real people's houses and stuff, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same as everybody's. Yeah. We
How do you
don't
route this thing?
how do I wrote it? Yeah, I got the garage sale treasure map app on my phone, but that kind of goes through Craigslist, I think, in the States. Is that how those get allotted when you use that yard sale treasure map?
Yeah, it runs off of Craigslist API, the RTL.
Right.
Yeah,
So
pretty similar.
we don't use Craigslist in central middle Canada. They seem to use it on the coasts, but in the middle here, in what's called Saskatchewan, the prairie, the what do we call it, the wheat belt. There's three provinces: Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and they don't really use Craigslist. They use something called Kijiji, Kijij.
I've heard about this thing
Yeah,
before.
so
Yeah.
it's very similar to Craigslist. It's pretty much the same thing, just some type of spin-off. So I have to go.
So you get on Kijiji like every day,
I
right?
yeah, I go on Kijiji, and that's where all the garage sales will be listed. There'll be 100 on there, and I have to, pick the ones I go off that I want to go off to, and I'll just organize them by time in the day, and then I will just map them out. I mean, I don't want to be sitting on the street corner figuring that out. So I usually spend a good 20 to 30 minutes actually picking all the ones I go out to. Then I number them based on my map in the order I want to go to, and just take the guesswork out of it, and then just go. So
Someone in the feed Value Bliss is saying Kijiji is owned by eBay. Did you know that?
yeah, they did just buy that. That's true.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that was a pretty recent acquisition, like within the last year or
Kijiji.
two.
Man, what a name. It's just so odd. It sounds like a I don't know. It sounds like a fermented Korean dish. Like, like something really weird. It
I
just
don't know
does,
where.
man. It
I
sounds
don't
like
know where.
kimchi, like or something.
Yeah.
Kijiji. Oh, I just had some kijiji last night with the parents. It was so good.
Oh, that's funny.
So we got some responses back to the conversion of those temperatures. So people in Saskatoon, if it was USA weather, they have their shorts and shirts on until about 41 degrees. Oh my God, that is cold. That is cold.
Is
Like
that
41 in
cold?
Austin, Texas, people are like, okay, that's pretty cold, man. Like they got down jackets and big pants on, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like we can't
Yeah,
handle that
I
stuff.
remember going. I remember going to California, to the ocean, when I was like 8 or 10 with my family, and yeah, people were walking on the beach with jackets on, and we were in the ocean. Like, they had down-filled jackets on. Some of them even had earmuffs, but like, I don't know. We had to go in. So
Those people on the beach were probably like, man, those people in the water must be Canadians. Anyway,
how many times have I said a? How many times have I said a during this? Does anybody know?
say again. What'd you say?
A. A. Canada always gets bashed for using just saying a, but as a exclamation point. It's
Oh,
like, or a question. You're not familiar
interesting.
with that?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well,
When I was in Las Vegas, we went to the like all the admins really, it was just kind of like a thing at night. We all go to the hot tub, and there's random people in there that are in Vegas doing hot tub things. But anyway, there were some people there from Canada. One was a flight attendant. I remember this, and we started, asking her all kinds of questions about flight. So apparently she only works like 5 days a month, and that's considered standard for a flight attendant. That's considered full-time pay already, like 5 days a month. I was like, that's insane. So she gets full-time benefits, all that kind of stuff, 5 days a month, full salary, everything. Now maybe she's pulling my chain or something. One of the other things that they told me that was really interesting is that Canada, in regards to YouTube, only gets to see certain things. Like it's almost like a filtered version of US YouTube. Did you know about this?
Yeah, they do block a lot of content. I don't know what it is specifically, but they do. Yeah, they do block a lot of content, usually on award shows and sporting events. One thing that really bugs me is that for some reason in central Canada here, we don't get the big Super Bowl commercials. They all
Really?
get preempted, and they show the local ones. It's like,
Oh, that
Jubilee,
sucks.
a car company paid to have their commercial
That's
on
not
during.
even fun, man.
I
That's not even
know. So
cool.
we have to go on YouTube after to watch them all. But
Really?
they're getting rid of that. If they didn't already do it this year, it's happening next year where they're getting rid of that.
Soiko and Pan in the comments says their Netflix is filtered too. Man.
Yeah, you have to switch up your IP to get American Netflix. It's
Oh my
different.
God, this is insane. So yeah, we're learning a lot of cool things about Canada in this show, man. Um, let's get back to your garage sale stuff though, real quick.
Yeah.
I could ask you a billion questions that are just so fascinating to me, but this is more about you, this show. Um, so you do garage sales for about 6 months a year. Did I hear you correctly? Right, about 6 months.
Yeah.
That's your season.
Yeah.
So something that you alluded to earlier in the broadcast is that now what are you doing with those other 6 months? And then you and I talked about behind the scenes, but what's your plan with your wife, kiddos, and all that kind of stuff? What are you thinking in your head that you're going to be executing pretty soon here?
Yeah. So I got 2 points on that, but I don't want to drag them out. But what my wife and I are working towards is, again, I keep referencing that yard sale treasure map, and I look at that thing, and I punch in, Austin, Texas, or Hollywood, California, or somewhere in Florida, and I see 150, 200, 300 yard sales pop up, in the middle of December, January, February, and I'm sitting here minus 30 degrees, and I won't see a yard sale for 4 months. We want to be there. So I just know that, because I do it on a weekly basis, that I can take $300 or $400 and flip it into 1,500 or more, give or take. That we're going to move 3 months a year to a place like that. Maybe we'll spend our first 3 months in Austin, and I'll steal all the deals from you.
This is the part of the show where I have to cut it off, and
Yeah.
that's it. We're done with this broadcast, man.
I wouldn't do that to you, but yeah, it's like a semi-retirement plan. I'm very accustomed now to being able to make $1,200 to $1,500 in a week going to yard sales, and it's only 10 or 12 hours work. So we're looking for a place to do that as a semi-retirement, get out of the cold. As much as I love Canada, uh, um, but to get out of the cold a few months a year and go do that. So
You're thinking, so because you said April to November is your season there, April to October, right? Something like that in Canada.
yeah, yeah.
So you're thinking around 3 months. Would you think you would pick the 3 months that are October, November, December in the States, or would you go more like January, February, March in the States?
We're going to do a 1 month trial just to make sure that the math is working
I'm
out for
pretty
us,
sure it's
because
going to do pretty well, man.
we,
I
we
mean,
want to do it for free, right? We want to be able to live there and be somewhere sunny and warm, and not have any expense. Pay for all of our expenses with the flipping. And yeah, you're right. I'm very confident we can do that. It's hard to leave family in December. Very close to all my family in my area, so it'd probably be more like a January, February thing. Yeah.
I think you can get it done. Are you going to do an RV kind of thing, or just fly into one of these cities, rent a big ass van? Like, what do you think you're going to do?
I think we're going to fly and rent a place. I assume, I can do it here. I can rent houses by the month. I'm sure I
Right.
can do that there too.
Yeah.
And yeah, rent a vehicle, rent a house.
Man, that'd be really cool if I like went to garage sales and then all of a sudden I just see you and we're just like, ooh, that's the guy. I interviewed him here. No, but no, it's never like that. I see my competition all the time out in yard sales, and they're
Yeah.
cool. The majority of them actually are coincidentally in the green room. So that's pretty cool. Um, I do want to take 1 second because I don't ever blast too much green room stuff, and I want to say, like, look, there are a lot of things in his background that are cool that you find from Garage Sales Canada, in the States. I'm looking at his background, and there's a lot of stuff that you can find here as well. If you do want to learn about things to sell, this guide right here, it's a PDF. You can put it on your phone right now. It is the second link down below. Go check it out. 100% free. Go get it. It'll teach you, 100 amazing items to resell, not 100 rare items to sell. Because, Richard, when it comes down to bread and butter type stuff, the repeatable things is really what makes, this is what makes the money come into your hands, like the bikes, like repeatable things that you can find all the time. And, a given week of yard selling or garage selling, 10 hours spent, how much of those items, if someone was looked down on a pie chart, how many of those items are repeatable, like things you find all the time, and how many would be kind of like, okay, these are like mid-tier, long tail, experimental types of items?
Because my portfolio is so diverse with what I buy, it's hard to answer that question. Like, it's really probably only 10 to 15% of real repeatables, like the electronics, the video games, the bikes, the golf clubs, and other sporting equipment.
And then you're just experimenting the other 80 or 85%?
Well, I don't know if it's experimenting after 20 years, but again, that's the thing about garage sales. I alluded to in one of my other videos is I'm hard pressed to find more than, one or two things in 20 years that I can remember. I'm getting old, that I can remember losing money on at a yard sale. And it was a couple of electronics that you buy. You can't test them. You get them home and they're broken. But you can't lose money at yard sales, and that's why I love them so much. You're buying things for $1 and $2 and $3. I mean, if you can't recuperate $1 or $2 or $3 out of something, you're doing something wrong. But generally, $1, $2, $3, you're flipping for 10, 20, 30. So
you like those guys? Yeah,
yeah. Answer your question.
Yeah, essentially, yes. I'm trying to figure out. I'm still kind of astonished how, if someone was to look at your repeatables, that they would only be a small percentage of your pie. Like, if someone looked at my pie, the repeatables would be a larger percentage, like around 50 or 60%, where I'm only experimenting maybe 30 to 40, maybe. Not even really experimenting. I guess, yeah, it's a tough question to answer. I see what you're saying, because repeatables are like for me, last weekend, found bikes, found a surfboard, found some weights, found a bike rack, found shoes. Like, these are all repeatables. Like, almost every weekend I'm finding something of those things,
I guess it depends how many categories you want to come up with, right? How much you want to narrow them down. Because I guess I'm looking at it that there's 100 categories of stuff that I would buy.
Right.
So it's hard to pick those real repeatables.
Okay. Good Use Goods says, hey, Richard, do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, Good Use Goods. This is going to be now the fourth time I tell you guys to look at the first link down below. It is Richard's YouTube channel. It is, when did you start that thing? 2 months ago, 3 months ago? When was it?
I kind of got it in the works about maybe 6 months ago, but I don't think I posted the first video, the first current run of videos was.
But you got a lot of videos on there. I mean, a fair amount. You have a pretty good amount now. I mean, you've been putting content in, right?
Yeah. I want to do a minimum one a week. I just had a few other things on the go with the after school programs, but that's kind of secondary. As much as I love all the kids, secondary to growing this YouTube channel right now. So there's for sure one a week, and I'm trying to do two, just on that verge of maybe going live with some of the finds. And I would like to, if people, I guess I'd ask you, Chris, do you get a good response? Do people really like to see you actually at the sales, or do they just want to see the finds?
So that's an interesting kind of question, because everything that I've ever done with my YouTube channel has come from usually me going, oh, I'm gonna try that, or many times it's come from comments. Like, I didn't used to take people to garage sales with me until someone said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you took us along the ride with you? And I was like, that's going to take a lot of work and effort, but I'll do it, right? Because the market demanded that, right? I get a lot of comments, and the majority of comments start saying the same thing. You have to start experimenting in that direction. Now that I've done a lot of ride-alongs and a lot of live shows, people were like, well, what happened to your hauls? Like, what happened to like the old hauls again? Like, from the beginning, I'm like, oh no. So now I gotta go back to that. They're like, what happened to the whiteboard, Chris, that you used to have in your channel? Like, you taught us things on the whiteboard. Like, that's gone. Like, so it's kind of funny, because you don't ever get to win. but
Right.
you get to experiment with YouTube. And that's what's so good about YouTube is there's really, as long as you don't cuss too much and offend someone, in a sexual preference or a racial preference or any of that kind of stuff, that you'll be just fine. Like anything goes. It's not like super governed by the FCC or anything. It's a very free platform for as long as it remains free. But it's fun, and
Right.
you can dress it up any way you want. You can edit it. You can be as interesting as you want, as dull as you want. But the second you upload that video is the ultimate. Does the market enjoy it? Do they like it? And I think your videos are real good. I wouldn't stand and get behind somebody that didn't have good content and wasn't well spoken and didn't really eat, breathe, and sleep like the hustle. And you do, and I know that. So I want you guys to check out his channel. That's enough time I'm going to tell you right now. So
I appreciate it.
yeah, of course. But yeah, you have to experiment. So I would take people on the journey. I'm going to tell you right now, people love if you can get just down realistic as possible with them. And like for me, the one thing that I'm lacking in my videos that I could do, it's just a lot more editing, is to put on the goggles that have a camera that nobody knows. And then now they're in the garage sale with me, but that takes a lot more editing. You'd be so surprised how much time I sink in editing. And, it has to be worth the time in the end,
Right.
like in every way possible. So either the channel grows ridiculously or it pays better. Like it has to be worth the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have 500 videos up or something like that, to where if people are like, well, I'm going to go subscribe to someone else, that's fine. Like, everyone's got the freedom in YouTube to do whatever they want. But I didn't make 500 videos for no reason. Like they're there,
Right.
and there's a lot of good ride-alongs in there, a lot of good hauls, and a lot of good stuff. And your channel will be the same way eventually. And you just got to keep going. You got to keep pressing at it, and don't leave a week. Or if you do two a week and you realize like you're getting so much engagement, like do 2 a week again, 2 a week, and eventually 1 week when you're kind of like, I'm gonna do three a week, and then 3 a week again, and eventually you get up to like 5 a week. Now here's a good question I want to ask you regarding eBay, because this is where you flip most of this stuff, right? I mean, if eBay and local stuff like Kijiji, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I probably would go right down the middle, 50-50 eBay and then local stuff. Obviously, the bigger stuff, I try and sell locally. Don't want to ship, a computer, the Heath kit from 1980, that's about 40 pounds. I don't want to ship that on eBay. But so I do a lot on Facebook, actually. I'm surprised I don't hear a lot about Facebook buy and sell groups. There's a ton of them in my area for whatever reason, like at least 6 Facebook groups that have between 5 and 25,000 members in them, and I'll post stuff on there a lot. So within the stuff I sell locally, you can break it down again that 25% of it is probably on the Kijiji or Craigslist, and then 25% of it is on Facebook buy and sell sites.
That's awesome. So of the eBay from the garage sale stuff that you find, half will go to, okay, let's go back real quick. Half will go to eBay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then half will go to local stuff. One of them was Kijiji and the other one's Facebook local sites.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So that's pretty cool. That gives, I mean, if you're around, and I know that we have a lot of local like resale kind of like Facebook sites to me here, and there's like a million ways to make money here in Austin, Texas. Probably same with like LA and Seattle and Portland and Miami and all these places. But the time is of the essence, right? The time is what dictates everything. I should probably try a local Facebook thing, kind of. I should. My only fear is that people are going to figure out who I am. They're like, that you're the bona fide. Like, nah, hold on. Like, having a YouTube persona is a little bit complicated sometimes. And I don't know. But then again, I'm making a deal. Let's say I'm making a deal after this broadcast, right? With a Green Room member, right? With a bike that I bought on video, and you can see the price of the bike on the video. But I gave him a price that was almost 40% less than market. Right. So it's like, I make money. I even disclosed it when I texted him back. I was like, this is a perfect deal. Like, I'll double my money. You'll get an insane deal of a bike, and everyone's happy. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping maybe that, do you find with Facebook and you locally, do people kind of know who you are? And do they go, oh, that's Richard. He's always at garage sales. And
just mostly friends and family and people I went to school with, 25 years ago. They're starting to see it more and more. It's not out of control yet. So yeah, that's not happening so much on the Facebook site or Kijiji. I mean, my name is definitely out there because I have 15 or 20 things posted on each buy and sell site locally. So my name is very familiar in those Facebook feeds, but
How
Yeah.
do you approach a situation where a friend wants to buy an item and you've hustled it, but you are a hustler. You're making your money from buying and reselling. This money goes to paying houses, cars, whatever, like vehicle trips and food on the table. What do you do in those scenarios? Do you go, I'll give you a deal? And if so, what does that kind of look like? Involve some numbers here so we can kind of follow along.
Well, the people who know me, and they know that I do it, for a living. So they're not expecting a great deal, but I do have an inner circle. It's like, if you tell me in advance you're looking for something, then it's not gonna be on my, every week I like to do a list of what I bought and what I'm gonna sell it for, take off all my expenses, gas and everything, and what I'm gonna make per hour. I want to know what I'm making per hour. And I think I'm worth $100 an hour. So that's my goal when I'm doing this, is $100 clear an hour. And I think that anybody can do that. So if I know in advance that someone's looking for this or that, I will buy it, and I just won't include it in my business for the week. So I won't charge them anything. I take pleasure in finding them the best deal possible. So if they're looking for a bike for their son and they want a certain size, and I can get it for $12, and even though I could flip it for 60, I know in advance that it's not included, so I'll give it to him for $12. Yeah,
See, in
I'll
my
give.
case,
I'll
like
give.
I know a lot of people that are looking for a lot of things to the point where
Yeah,
it's
no,
like almost
you're.
everything. I'm like, okay, like at some point I have to draw the line and go, okay, like I got to make money too at some point, you know?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're in a totally different boat than I am, and I'm sure I'll get there at some point where people realize that the friends and family discount is now gone.
It's getting
But
abused.
yeah, yeah, you got to
Yeah,
be careful that people don't
I do.
abuse
I
you.
do it like you do, like you said, like with a kid's bike. You said the kid's bike, and immediately I got my memory got jogged for a $4 amazing bike that I found for a kiddo. I was going to put it on Craigslist, and then I caught wind that this would be perfect for my friend's daughter, so I just gave it, and she has ridden it a little bit. I think she honestly rode the bike for like a month because
Yeah,
it was one of these push type bikes, and so like it's like an intermediate, like right between like the something and then something else. Like the real bicycle with the training wheels was this thing, and
yeah,
so it only got used for like a little bit. And I told him, I was like, you can just go resell it for 50 to $100, and I won't care if you keep the money. It's like whatever. But I immediately jogged my memory. I was like, yeah, you're right. You have to do some good things here and there. But sometimes it can get kind of crazy, and it can get. Everyone's looking for great deals these days. Like, I mean, my wife, like every single pair of size eight shoes that are Flyknit free chukkas. Like, that's it. Like, I can't bring them home. If I do, it won't be. I cannot sell them. Like, I just won't be able
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Lululemon stuff too. I don't know how your wife is, but like my wife, Lululemon, that's it. Like if it's her size, like I'm probably not going to be able to keep it.
yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, that list is pretty small of people who get that friends and family discount. It's a handful. So I certainly can't take money out of my wife's and kid pocket by giving everything away at cost. But I'm sure it's like there's so many deals out there. I have a double car garage here, and it's full of stuff, and I could fill it, again this season. And that's the other thing I do. I alluded to it earlier. 6 months off, where I can't go to garage sales. So
You have to
um,
accumulate stuff, right?
yeah, I love to accumulate stuff. Like a lot of times I call it my money in the bank kind of thing, where I'll buy, a large purchase of stuff, maybe spend 50, 60, 80, $100 on a whole bunch of stuff at a sale, and then sell one thing right away, get the whole $100 back for everything else that's, worth $300 to $500 still in profit. And that's kind of like the money in the bank. I don't care if it sells tomorrow or next week, um, or next month, because to me, it's money in the bank. Some people are afraid of having that death pile, as it's so called in the industry, of stuff that you feel like it's never going to get sold. But to me, it's just a big giant bank account. I don't care if it's full of 3 and 5 and 10 and 20 and $30 items. It's all money in the bank someday. So
Yeah. So you think about it this way because clearly you have seasonality, right?
mm-hmm.
When it comes to sourcing, when it
Yes.
comes to selling, do people in the wintertime travel around with 4x4 vehicles picking up stuff from Kijiji and like local Facebook stuff? I mean, this stuff, I mean, you can meet at a gas station, you can meet anywhere you want, but the sourcing is the toughest part. That pretty much ceases for 6 months a year, right?
It really does. Yeah, because I'm not huge into into the buying the retail stuff that's on clearance and reselling that on Amazon. I just really shied away from Amazon. It's not, for me personally, in Canada, it's a lot different than in the States. Canada only has 30 million people in it, whereas the US has roughly 300 million, I think. So everything's like 10 times bigger. And the shipping's ridiculous. If you want to ship that same 50-pound box in Canada that you guys can ship around the States, how much does a 50-pound box cost you? Like 20, 30 bucks to ship to FBA?
A 50 pounder, yeah, around, it just depends. I'm in the center part of the country, and depends on where your destination warehouse is. Like mine could be
Right.
Dallas, and usually it is Dallas. And at that point, a 50 pounder to Dallas costs way less than a 50 pounder to LA or Arizona or,
Okay.
Kentucky, right? So mine to Dallas, a 50 pounder would probably be like 11 bucks at best, maybe 7.
Yeah.
It's kind of
See.
crazy when you think about it, but it goes to Dallas, then it gets reallocated. Rich, I don't pay for that stuff, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so weird, man. Amazon Canada is super slow moving, is what Joshua Davidson says here in the comments.
Yeah. It's
You don't mess
basically
with Amazon because it's above you, right? Right now, you like eBay, you've mastered it, you've mastered this whole other thing.
Yeah, I guess you stick with what you know, right? If I can make that $12 or $1,500 working 10 or 15 hours over the course of a week, yeah, why would I bother going to Amazon? Maybe it's in the future right now, but I don't need it for what for what I need.
Good
Make
Use
15.
Goods is saying, "Hey Richard, use the UPS partner program with FBA. It cost me 18 to 21 for a 35-pound box, and I think he's in Canada as well. So there you go. There's another one.
That's good.
I
But
have a question for you guys real quick in the feed. And that question is, are you enjoying the show? Like, let's interact. 82 people, 84 people. And this is one of those shows where a lot of people are just watching and like just listening to the content. And I get it. Do me a favor, right? If I could get even half you guys to put a comment in for a second, are you liking the show? And the second question, and just write this in the same comment, have you subscribed to his channel? Trust me, he's got some good stuff. He finds some really cool things. And you and I are not the same age, but we're getting, we're sort of kind of close. So a lot of things that you find and your eye is really good. It reminds me of so much stuff back in the day, like the My Pet Monster, the NES stuff, those wrestling figure things. Like these are a lot of things that when I was a kid, like I had too. How important is reminiscing your childhood or knowing what you loved in childhood? How does that play into your like profit game now?
well, I had a sports card store in the early 90s, and that gave me a really sour taste in my mouth as far as collecting goes. Because I lost my shirt. I'll be transparent. Like I lost my shirt. That it was like a stock market. Cards went from. I ended up selling out my cards at a penny on the dollar. So 1% of what their original value was when I got out of business. So pretty much from that day forward, I decided the only thing I'm going to collect is money. All this stuff, as nice as it is, and it's nostalgic, and I love it, and it looks great in the background, it's all for sale. Other than the autographed Carrie Fisher, which I hope nobody's offended by, half naked Carrie Fisher there. She autographed that for me before she passed. But other than that, it's all for sale. I don't quite understand the collecting thing, because the way I see it, that My Pet Monster that I paid $5 for, that I should get at least 50 for at the end of the day, I can take that $50 and turn that into 150, and 150 into 500, and that My Pet Monster will never be worth $500, not even in 1,000 years. So I don't understand why, other than the nostalgic reason, why someone has a collection of anything.
So that's good insight. You're right. I do that a lot with a lot of things that I personally use. Like it could be shoes or certain things I might wear once a year. I'll put them on eBay, for example, like certain things, just random stupid things, or sometimes bikes. I'll leave it on eBay or Craigslist for like the longest time ever, but I still
Yeah.
ride them all the time. But I see what you're saying. Like it's kind of senseless to collect things. I think it's senseless to collect things if you're not using them on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to come across too hard. Like obviously there's a lot of things I hang on to and keep and we use.
Right.
And you keep what you like. I mean, that's the beauty of yard selling, right? You get something that you want, you get it for $2 or $5 instead of 50 or 100. I mean, it's awesome to be able to have those things. I mean, you got a lot of toys. We got a lot of toys that we that you can get at yard sales for next to nothing, and things you need around the house.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting too. Like when you're sourcing, it's so unpredictable, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just you don't know what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
Do you have? Would it be safe to say that you have a garage sale addiction?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think everybody has an addiction at some sort, some level. Um, yeah, it's a long winter when I'm waiting for the snow to disappear and the garage sales to show up again in April. And it's just going to really start popping this weekend. Like we have 5 community sales.
Wow.
They all decided to do it the same weekend, and these are big communities. Like without hesitation, I'll probably pop in at 200 yard sales this one weekend.
200. Wow. What's the car of choice? What are you traveling around with? A truck, you
I
said.
just got a little Ford quarter ton. Yeah,
And does it have a camper shell thing on the top or no?
Ford Ranger. It does not. It does not have one of
So it's an
those.
open bed.
Yeah, that's on my list.
So like half your hustles blow out with the wind. Like when you go, there's like. So if you go to any neighborhood that like he's been down, like if you follow his route, if you just stay behind him like a half a mile, good chance you're gonna find like amazing goods and retro and My Pet Monsters just like strewn across the street and
Yeah.
random stuff. Dude doesn't even have a camper on his freaking what? What is
I
going on
don't.
here, man?
I don't have a spaceship yet. I just got like a Flintstone car. It's partly open, so.
Oh my gosh. All right,
Yeah.
here's my suggestion to you is you need to get an app that searches Kijiji and searches your local Facebook stuff for an ARE camper shell for really cheap. Just trust me. Like that's how my brother bought his like tonneau cover, whatever, retractable cover thing. He like programmed an app to like look all the time for him
Oh
for
yeah.
keywords. And so I know I know you know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
you gotta get it yourself. You have to get yourself a cover, man. You can like double. You don't even have to go home if you have a cover, man. You
Oh,
know.
don't worry. I fill that baby up. And like I said, 12 minutes anywhere in this city. So if I have to whip home and unload in the backyard, I can do that for sure. But
Do you ever look in your rear view to see if anything flew out?
I'm usually pretty good.
All right.
Yeah,
I
I
need to know
think
your route. Next time,
I've
just tell me your route. I'm just gonna follow behind you in Canada. I'm gonna drive my spaceship up there. I'm just gonna follow behind you. I'm just gonna pick up all the stuff that's blown out of your truck bed, dude.
yeah, that'll work. Just drive backwards and just keep your hatch open and drive backwards.
There you go. It's just gonna go right to the spaceship, then I'll just take off into outer space back to Austin. Oh my god. Anyway, okay, so you're a family man. You're married. You got kids. You're in your 40s. You're loving life. What is happiness to you? This is a question I'm gonna probably start asking all my guests. But define happiness in a flipping for a living kind of way.
Wow, that's a really big question. I mean, divine happiness. I mean, I hope I'm showing it right now. I mean, I'm happy to be able to share this with everybody. I'm so happy that you reached out to me and I reached out to you and we were able to, do this show together. I'm happy to be able to work for myself. I mean, I'm so blessed to be able to do this, and I think that's why I want to share it with everybody. It's because I said it already. You don't have to have any special talent to do this. You got to just enjoy, getting out there and meeting with people and working for yourself and making your own schedule. And sure, you got to be disciplined. You don't want to be all willy-nilly and not taking care of business and not paying your bills and not selling your stuff and posting it and cleaning it and moving on to the next thing. But happiness is doing what I'm doing. I love it.
Yeah, it sounds like it, man. Like you
Yeah.
just when you watch Richard's videos on his channel, you start to realize like this is a person that's very content and happy with what he does, and he's using YouTube to like kind of just teach you guys like what to look for. Things are working well for him in Canada, and he wants to just show you guys what he's finding. So that's pretty cool that I can watch your videos, but you can watch all of the reselling videos, but certain videos on YouTube are filtered out for you. It must be like some of that dumb Nicki Minaj stuff and things that Canadians don't need to see anyway. Like that's just not really that great. But you, when it comes to reseller channels in YouTube, can watch any of them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't know, I guess, if yeah, I've never tried to watch on a YouTube channel, and it basically says this content is unavailable in your area. I find it
Okay.
hard to believe that doesn't happen to other people. I'm sure it happens in other countries, in Europe and stuff, not just Canada. But yeah, that's usually what it says: content unavailable. But it's never been not like on a YouTube channel. It's usually like a big show by NBC or CBS or something like that.
Okay. Wouldn't it be kind of weird, guys, if like if he's in Canada, he can watch Bonafide Hustler and some other random YouTubers, but then he can't see like Reagan Profit or like Hearts or Golden Finger Pig or anything. That'd be so weird. It would just be so weird. I wonder
I
how they
can,
filter this stuff out. That's just crazy. So
yeah, I can see all them, so they don't worry.
okay, good. So all the
Yeah,
resellers are fair game to Canada people.
yeah,
That good news. We are pretty much at the end of our show. Don't think this will be the last time that you'll ever see Richard on my channel because, like I said, I'm going to help him out. We do some shows together, and he did watch my previous 2 garage selling shows, and he was like, "Oh man!" So all that information resonated a lot with you, and like it's just like your thing, right? The garage
yeah.
sales are your thing, and so when we're talking about negotiation or prepping, it's like second nature to you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this won't be the last time that you see him on my channel. This has been an absolute pleasure to be here with Flippin' for a Living. That's his YouTube channel. That's right. It's the first link down below. You can go subscribe to Richard's channel right now, and you can see all the things that he flips and finds from garage sales. I thought it was a fantastic show. Richard, do you have any parting words for the people in the feed that have watched you live just now?
Just thank you very much for watching, and please, yeah, if you go to the channel, please leave comments. I want to just do exactly what Bonafide did for me, and pay it forward. You know, I want to share whatever knowledge I have. And just on a side note, it is the number 4, Flippin' for a Living, because I have only a handful of videos so far. If you type in FOR or the word FOUR, it might not show up. So Flippin' for the number 4.
Flipping for a Living. I put it right in the feed, but it is the first link down below. If you look at the first link, it should hyperlink directly to his channel. You'll be fine. So yeah, go sub to his channel, and we'll see Richard again on my channel pretty soon. Richard, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
You got it, man. And we'll see you guys on the next Bonafide Hustler Hangout. Take it easy, guys. See you later.